Wow. Well, this is a very exciting moment for all of us. I just want to think about where we are here in this experience right now. And we want to dive in. You already know Tom Herman. So, Tom, we're very excited to have you here with us.
Thank you, sir.
Championship winning coach, Cougar, just an unbelievable champion of the coaching field. And we're honored to have you in the space.
Thank you.
And as you know, this moment is very surreal for us. I'm going to quickly introduce us and then we'll jump right in. So my name is Frank Dana. I'm part of Softway and Culture Plus, and Mohammad Anwar is the CEO and president of Culture Plus, Softway, all the things. There we go. And the reason why we're here is because there's a really weird moment that happened a little over a decade ago, Tom. You gave an answer in a press conference that at the time was probably just you being honest in that moment. But then Mohammad heard it, and that answer that you gave changed the trajectory of our company, of our books, honestly, our lives, Coach. And so when you think back,
A lot of weight.
it's a lot of weight. So when you think back to that moment, do you remember what was going through your mind when you used the word love to describe what was happening with your team in that particular season?
I don't. All right, good night, everybody.
Next question.
Yeah, no. But there's more to it. I think, obviously, the things that I say impact people in different ways, but I was just being honest. I think the question was, how did you rally? It was after we were 9-0. We were ranked in the top 25, and we had probably the number 2 team in our conference coming in to play us in Memphis. And our quarterback was having a great year, Greg Ward Jr. You guys might know the name, might not. And he got hurt in, early in the third quarter, I believe, of the Memphis game. And so we had to put our backup quarterback in, who was a receiver in junior college and had been with us not very long. Then we were down 21 at home and in the fourth quarter. And somehow, some way, we came back and we won that. Actually, we were down 20.
20 points, yeah.
20 because we had blocked a PAT early in the game or something like that. And we came back and won the game and kept the undefeated season alive and kept our conference championship hopes alive. Obviously, that was a big one in our side of the conference. And so I think I was just asked the question, how did you do this? How did you, with a backup quarterback, and the only thing, how does any organization do something like that, right? I thought what made us unique, and how were we able to do something that is very, very rare. And it was because of the way we felt about everybody else. That team was special. They were special because I've been on some really good teams, or been a part of them. And that one was the most selfless team I have ever been around. And I don't know, it just felt like the appropriate forum, I guess, to talk about something that was already embedded in our culture. And yeah, I'm glad I did. I wouldn't be sitting here had I answered it differently.
Hate. Mohammad would have been like, yes. Mohammad, back to you.
Yes, sir.
Can you take us back to where you were when you heard that answer and that question hit you so hard? Why was it so hard to move on from that word that was used? Tell us about where you were headspace-wise and why was it so hard?
So you know this, but during that year, we were struggling a lot as a company. I had never been in that kind of a predicament where I literally was contemplating bankruptcy. And I'd have to personally also declare bankruptcy because nobody advised this 20-year-old not to sign on as a co-sign, the guarantor for the lease, not to guarantee my line of credits, like everything I had put my name on. So if the company went down, I would go down. And so it was a very a hard year of lessons, and during that time I was literally looking for ways to save the company. I love sports, and especially anything with Houston Cougars. I'm like all in, whether it's basketball, football, you name it. I'm all in. That year was a very special year because of what Coach Herman did. He turned around this program, and the last time we had that kind of a winning season was when Coach Sumlin was there with Casey Keenum era. And then after that, we were like downhill. And then Coach Herman came in, and, we were 9-0. And so, to be honest, during that time, I actually watched our U of H Cougars. And every game that they played, I would see Softway through the eyes of the Houston Cougar football team. I envisioned us, our own company, having a chip on our shoulder. We're considered the underdogs, and we had to fight to win. Witnessing that game on Saturday night, I was in.
Fight song, but
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
I was.
don't ask me to sing it. I've sung a lot of fight songs during that.
I was in the stadium, and in the fourth quarter, the stadium started to empty out. A lot of fans were leaving the stadium, and I definitely considered, should I also leave, because I don't want to watch I don't want to watch us lose.
Right.
But I'm glad I stayed because I witnessed that, and so that game had like rejuvenated me. I had been like super pumped, and I had just been through layoffs. And I needed some sign of hope and like confidence that I don't have to shut down, I can keep going. So witnessing that game gave me that inspiration. But then on Monday,
You were down by 20 in the fourth quarter.
You saw yourself.
Yeah, I had a lot of zeros.
Well, yeah, you're down
20,000? No, more.
more zeros.
100 more.
More zeros.
But on Monday, when Coach was at the press conference, and he shared, that he attributed love to the comeback victory, and how he expanded and shared that, it wasn't just a love you dog, love you bro kind of love. I'm sorry, I'm speaking about you here, but
You do it better than me sometimes.
There's the quote. There you go.
yeah, he literally said, like, it's not the love you dog, love you bro kind of love. It's the genuine love where you hold the other person's heart in your hand kind of love.
Right.
That's the only way I know how to do it. I can't do his accent, but I can try. I'm the one with the accent, sorry. But
Does it have an accent? It's a great conversation. So
yeah, so after I heard him explain that and say, that's how you build championship level teams. It's when the players go on the field not to fight for themselves, but to fight for the brothers next to them. That's how you become a championship level team. I couldn't help but in the moment ask myself, do I love my team? Do I care for my team? And I obviously didn't, because I had become very power drunk, selfish, and I had become like a dictator maybe. And I had never contemplated love as a winning strategy or a championship strategy.
Right.
But witnessing the football game, witnessing how you led the team, how you poured your heart into them. I mean, believe it or not, this is pre-COVID. Coach Herman kissed all 110 players before they got on the field, on their cheek.
Yes, on the cheek.
I mean, he embraced them. He genuinely demonstrated true care and love for them. So witnessing all of that had really inspired me. And so, yeah, it took me on a journey where I never thought I would go. So
Yeah.
grateful for it.
Thank you. I want to talk a bit about the word love. And it's a word that a lot of leaders like to avoid. You used that word and it changed our lives, right? It kind of shattered your paradigm of what we need to do and how should leaders actually operate. So Tom, when you say love in the context of leadership, what do you actually mean? And what do you definitely not mean?
I've never really been asked to define it. The word selfless comes to mind. Not say I don't know. There's a feeling, right? When I said the love you dog, it's not the love you dog, right? It's not the one-handed hug that I probably gave half of you when you came in here. No offense, but the difference between the bro hug and the two hands. You come in here for the real thing, right? They feel different. They feel a lot different. I grew up the only child of a single mom. My dad, my real dad died in a homeless shelter when he was 52 years old. Coaches were my dads, right? And the locker room were my brothers, right? I didn't have anything else. And so literally, like my high school coaches, it was just me and my mom. Then, Mom, I'm growing some stubble on my face, I'll never forget. She says, I can do legs and armpits, but for faces, go see Coach, right? Mom, I got to tie a tie for the 9th grade banquet. She's like, scarves I can do, ties I can't. Go see Coach, right? And so that was just kind of, they were the men in my life, and they raised me that way. And in order to get the most out of human beings, they have to feel connected. You take jobs and whatever, how do you just immediately go, and this might apply a little bit more to business too, well, how do you just walk in and say, you love this person, you love that person? I didn't say like, first of all. I got a lot of relatives that I love that I don't like, okay? Raise your hand if you're a parent in here, if you have a child, right? Yes. So, I don't know about y'all, but when my kids were born, I didn't know how handsome my sons were gonna be. I didn't know how smart my daughter was gonna be. I didn't know how fast they were gonna run. I didn't know a damn thing about them. Neither did you. But what I did know was I loved it. And I loved it. I loved them, right? It was an it at that point. I loved them because they were mine, right? And I didn't see a job any differently. It was mine. My name was on that. My name is on that child, right? Just like my name is on those 100 and some odd kids that I hugged and kissed before they went into battle with my name on them. I wish I had a magical answer for you. It is not like, it is not one-handed, yo, love you, dude. It's not sunshine and rainbows. There's a lot of former players that don't really appreciate some of the way that we love them until further down the road and they've matured. I mean, I have to manage adults, trust me, and staffs and support staff and whatnot, but I mean, we're talking about human beings whose frontal cortex is not even fully developed yet. They come to you, you literally had their parents drop them off, and you promise to give them back better, right? The definition is own it, like it's yours. Your job is yours. Your name is on that. Your employees are just like your children. I hold my children accountable too, and they're not always the biggest fans of me. You ask them if I got their back or if I love them or if I support them. Yeah. And so I didn't see any other way to manage people than I would manage my own kids.
Thank you for that. Mohammad, I want to ask you, when you first heard Tom use that word, what did it challenge in your understanding of leadership?
Up until that point in time, I thought leadership was about me commanding people, telling them what to do, and correcting them, pointing out their mistakes, and basically that was my job, is to just get the best results possible. But in the process, obviously I wasn't loving, I was not helpful, I was actually very intimidating and demeaning, and I would even humiliate a lot of people. I mean, those are realizations I had along the way. But after learning more about the culture of love from Coach Herman's football team that I closely followed, I saw that it's more coming from a place of support,
right,
and care,
yeah,
and I also saw like how selfless they were. Right, the players went on the field not for themselves but for their teammates. They also held them accountable.
Right.
Like if someone messed up, they'd go talk to each other, hold the helmet to say, "Don't mess that up. Why did you get that foul?" Seeing all of that, but also genuinely caring for each other, really inspired me to rethink my leadership and think about how I needed to lead the company.
And I can be honest with you. I mean, you created a culture of fear. There was a lot of fear in our space, right? In the way, and we've written 2 books about it, right? So it's like, oh no, Mohammed's learning this for the first time. In regards to love versus fear, Tom, you've talked about leadership through a lens of love versus fear. in high pressure environments, fear can look pretty dang effective in the short term.
Yes.
So what does fear produce and what does love produce over time?
That love and fear emotionally are the two greatest motivating factors for a human being. You're going to get a lot of motivation with fear. Trust me. It's, in my opinion, the second greatest motivator, because I think that love wins every time. And I use the example, if I was in my house watching whatever I watched, Dateline, Jeopardy, whatever it is.
Two good shows.
Yeah, very good. Very good.
Very, very good.
Don't get me started on the true crime stuff. But we're actually going to talk about a hypothetical crime. So I'm sitting there, I'm watching them, I'm by myself in my house. And two guys in ski masks bust my door down. They got guns, right? This is hypothetical. Okay, they got guns, they want everything. You know what I'm doing? I'm running. At that moment in time, I am running for my life. Now, put Michelle and my 3 kids upstairs. And what's the difference in my reaction? Right? It's the same scenario, right? I'm gonna fight them till I die, right? I'm gonna give them everything I got. They're probably gonna win, but I'm gonna fight them till I die. And because I don't love my house, I don't love my things that they're gonna steal from me. I don't love anything in that house. That's why I ran. But I still had the same fear when my kids and wife were upstairs in this scenario, right? But the love I had trumped it. So where am I going with this? I think a healthy amount of fear is fine. I feared my mom, feared my coaches, certainly, and so fear gets a bad rap, maybe a little bit. It means it's important to you, right? I used to tell players all the time, like, they used to call me Pepto in high school because before games, this might be a
Nope, this is as low as it can go.
Like I would be a wreck. I'd be diarrhea, sometimes vomit, the whole 9 before every game. And so I'd pound a half bottle of Pepto-Bismol just to calm down.
Got it.
And I didn't want to be that way. And I had a coach tell me, and he defined it. He said, nervousness is just an energy, right? And you've got to channel it. You go back to fear. Fear is an energy, right? It's an emotion and can be channeled properly, right? It can drive someone, certainly, it can motivate someone to do good things, certainly, because they don't want to let somebody down, because they're fearful of the consequence of not achieving what they've set out to achieve.
Yeah.
But again, when facing do or die moments, or when the pressure is really, I hope nobody in your businesses is coming in with ski masks and guns or whatever. But those moments, right? Those do or die moments, if all they have is fear, they're going to run. So they need something to trump the fear.
Yeah.
Fear is good, but when it comes to nut cutting time, or when it comes to go time, and you need something to trump that fear, that's the only thing left. There's only one thing left.
Thank you. And Mo, I want to ask you, how did that fear show up in not only the way that you led, but in the way that our teams experienced our culture and the workplace, right? I want to talk a bit about what that was like at that pre-love moment.
I mean, you're gonna have to share it as well. So experienced it.
Yeah.
Mo was just fine.
It was also from a place of power, right? Like creating fear is, I need this work to get done, no excuses, move the needle forward.
Yeah, but I will tell you, since I've gone through Mo 1.0 to hopefully Mo 3.1.4.1.
Yeah, you're at pi now.
Yes.
Yeah, 3.14.
Yeah.
I will tell you that when I did lead from fear, I could get people to do stuff. That's it. They would just do what I would ask them to do. It was more, they would exactly comply. If I said, go do this, they would go do it, but nothing more, nothing less. But when I started to create an environment of culture of love where I empowered and trusted the people, I noticed that there was far more ownership. There was far more innovation. There was far more challenging. They would even challenge my decisions to give me feedback and say, well, actually, I think that's a stupid decision. I think we should do it this way. And when I was leading from a place of fear, I think I missed out on all of those opportunities. They sure did whatever I asked them to do. It kept our company from achieving higher success and achieving bigger goals.
Yeah.
Until I was able to like start leading from a place where, we call it the culture of love. Now, it doesn't mean that there isn't fear still in the company today. I think there's still fear, but the fear that I think I've experienced is more the fear of letting me down.
I was just going to say that,
Yeah.
The fear of letting somebody who loves you and you love them down is different than the fear of losing my job.
That's right.
Or the fear of getting my ass ripped or whatever.
That's the shift.
Yeah.
That's the shift. Right. And I know that's how it felt for me too, is Mohammad, when you were leading from a place of fear, everything was very transactional. It was, get this done, here's a receipt for it being delivered on time and under budget, which it never was, either on time or under budget, unfortunately. But when it comes to a culture of love, it's much more relational, which means we are holding each other accountable. We have a set of standards that we are holding each other to. And those standards are not just individualized, but it's something that we all experience and see together. And so that I want to talk about standards, because I think oftentimes when people hear the word love, and this is something we're trying to help dismantle in the world today, is you hear love and you assume it means lowering the bar. You assume that it means doormat, right? Like I'm gonna be soft.
Soft. Yeah.
Jinx, you and me, Coke. But in your world, Tom,
There, thank you. Or I wouldn't have been able to answer it.
love seems deeply connected to standards. And so how do you hold people to an incredibly high standard without making them feel disposable?
For those of you that are the CEO or very high up in management, I had to rely a lot on my assistant coaches. When you go from being a coordinator to a head coach, you go from coaching players to coaching coaches. You know, when I was a quarterback coach, right, I had my guys, my 5 guys, right? And I was responsible for my 5 quarterbacks in that room, right? And now you're the head coach and you're responsible for 120 of them. Like, you can't have those same relationships. So what I had to do was build those relationships with the coaches and allow that. They bore the brunt of my dismay when there was dismay, because I wanted to foster a bunker mentality within each position group.
What is that?
A shared responsibility, a shared lot in life, maybe, you know.
So like a purpose.
Yeah, exactly. So if something really bad happened and a kid screwed something up, I always yelled at the coach, because I felt like if that guy has the relationship that he's supposed to have with that young man, him seeing me yell at the coach for something he did is going to hopefully enforce and create that, man, I can't let my guy down again. My guy's over there getting his ass ripped for something I did. I cannot let that happen again. Now, if a coach isn't doing his job, that kid just, good, he thinks it's his fault or whatever. I do get the balance between accountability and empathy. Right? You can't just gimme, do, and not feel some element of reward for that. You know, I've changed. I know I used to say you're gonna get 5 pats on the back in this program. 1 after every bowl win, and the 5th one when you walk across stage and get your degree. That was a little hard for some people to hear in recruiting. It might have been still true, but I stopped saying it. Okay, but I do think this generation needs more sugar, right? I think every the saying goes, Bear Bryant probably thought we were slackers, right? And so, you know, every older generation feels the same about the young generation. But a generation ago, the coach used to say, jump. You said, yes, sir, how high? Then my generation was probably jump, and we said, why? You said, because I effing told you to, yes, sir. Right? But now this generation is why, and it's not because I told you so. That's not good enough. So you need more patience. You need more good with the bad, sugar with the salt, if you will.
Yeah, Chris likes to say broccoli and the brownies.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, like giving the dog the vitamins.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. How has this idea translated into business for you? This idea of standards and accountability. What does it look like to love someone and still hold them accountable to hard things?
For me, the idea of love in the workplace, I use the team mindset because I also have brothers in my business that I unfortunately cannot fire. So I had to prescribe to the sports team mindset of high performance and winning. And when we love each other and care for each other, we are able to elevate to the highest levels of performance. And from an accountability and standard standpoint, if people are not able to live up to the standards that are required for us to be successful, then I ask them to enter the transfer portal.
You use the same terms.
I use all football terminology.
I know you do.
And the idea is we are here to be a team to win. And if someone doesn't show up to practice, if someone's not carrying their weight, someone's not doing the work they're supposed to do, then we hold them accountable and we ask them to enter the transfer portal to go to another organization that would love them. Because there are other companies where your strengths are valuable, where they might be needed, but maybe for us, for where we are and for our mission and for where we're going, this may not be the right team for you. So that's how we've taken the football culture and made it the analogy of performance and winning and entering the transfer portal.
Thank you.
Yes.
I want to talk about pressure for a moment. You hinted at it earlier, Tom. You've led environments where the pressure is very public, emotional, it's immediate in coaching. What does pressure reveal about a team that normal circumstances can hide?
The Navy SEALs say, and obviously what we do is not life or death, but there's a lot of similarities. And they say you don't rise to the occasion, you fall to the level of your training. In those moments, those big games, whatever they are, a big moment in the game, as a human being, you're going to do in that moment what is the most comfortable for you to do. And we have to train them for hard to be comfortable. I also think if you go about things, you play the directional school for the blind, the week before you play SMU at Houston, you don't change, right? You don't make the situation bigger than it is. This is what we train to do. We're going to train the same way we train day in and day out. They're going to feel, in those big moments, those big games, they're going to feel it. I read this somewhere way back when I was young. Pressure is that uneasy feeling you get when you're unprepared. We're all humans, it's all going to creep in, but you have to be strong enough to remind yourself how you've trained for this moment too.
Yeah.
Now, you're not going to bullshit yourself. So if you're trying to talk yourself into, hey, you trained for this and you haven't trained for this,
Yeah.
you know you're BSing.
Yeah.
And so you have to have put that in, and they have to have been put in that environment time after time after time in order to make sure that the pressure feels like training.
Felt that experience of trying to BS my own way through this about a month and a half ago, where I had signed up for a Spartan and I hadn't trained for it. And so I got out on the run and I could only run about a mile. And then I was walking the rest of it. I was able to do some of those obstacles, but we got to the very end of it. And at the very end, because Spartan loves to create absolute pain, the very last obstacle was the 30-foot climb.
Yeah, rope. Yeah.
And my wife and my son were there to watch. And I failed miserably because I wasn't prepared. And the only person I could blame was my wife. I'm kidding. It was me. It was me.
Obviously.
She wasn't holding me back. It was me. And so that pressure, it revealed the fact that I had to hold myself accountable for that moment.
Yep.
And it was painful to watch my son be like holding a camera, ready to take a picture of me at the top of this thing because I crushed it a couple years ago and I couldn't even get 5 feet off the ground. Those are those moments where you wish you had prepared
Yes.
to get to that place that would be easy mode, but it wasn't. So that was a moment for me. Mohammad, I want to ask you, in business, the scoreboard is a little different, but the pressure is very real.
Yeah.
When Softway has been under pressure, let's just talk about now. When Softway is under pressure today, for instance, what has it revealed about our culture? And what does it reveal around cultures that are trying to build winning teams?
Obviously, we survived many different pressure situations.
Quite a few.
Yeah, so in the 23 years, we've had lots of instances where Softway should not be open right now, and we've survived.
Okay.
And I'd say the culture of love brings out, I think, resilience and the tenacity to not give up. And it's not just the individual desire to not give up, but I have seen time and again, a lot of the folks at Softway will fight, not literally for their teammates, because they don't want to see us fail and or see our teammates not be able to have jobs or not see our clients succeed in what they empowered us to do for them. And I've seen that culture time and again show up in times of pressure, whether it's COVID, the 2008 crisis, the 2015, 2016 Mo created crisis.
Yes.
Down to all of the different situations. I've seen that, especially recently, especially the COVID and everything, how our team responded to the situation is a testament to the resilience and so forth. And the pressure, I know our team hates me for this, but I create that pressure quite a bit of the time.
So say more.
Yes. I push our team quite hard to achieve higher results. I give them, they say I give them very tight deadlines. I've had moments where if I'll be like, hey, let's get this project done in a month, and they're like, that's impossible. We need 3 months, we need 4 months. I'm like, no, you're gonna do it in a month. Right? So
That's pressure.
it is pressure, but every time I put the pressure, we've succeeded. We've come out, on the other side, completing it, and things we didn't believe we could do, we've done it. And so I think it's that discomfort that we create. Sometimes as leaders, we have to know how much discomfort we create, because there's productive discomfort and then there's unproductive discomfort. So having that recognition that as a leader, how much discomfort am I going to create so that there's growth,
Right.
is something we have to have awareness of. But I purposefully do it quite a bit of the times. And then it gets us to grow a lot.
Agreed. I'll have to agree with that.
Yeah.
And I think there's an opportunity to create that pressure for sports teams as well, right? I mean,
Daily.
you get a
Daily.
chance to create that pressure because you want them not to be aiming for the opportunity, but to be ready for any.
We say it's 4th and inches every day when you walk into that building.
Yeah.
And every second you're in there, that's the level. And you can take a deep breath when you get out. During the season, you may or may not know, the coaches only get their players for 20 hours a week, no more than 4 hours a day. In the off season, it's 8 hours a week, no more than 2 hours a day. So they need to be doing more, obviously, but they're bombarded with messages. So you only have them a very finite amount of time. And if you want your culture to stick, I always say it can't be the standard for the D-line coach that you're 5 minutes early for position meetings, and then they go to the training room and the trainer lets them be 3 minutes late, and that's okay, right? So it's got to be total alignment within that because of the time constraints. And so to Mo, what he was saying, you have to create that pressure. Again, if you break it down during the season, you get them for 4 out of 24 hours, and so if you want them to be ready, you have to create that in a very short amount of time.
Wow. Thank you. Coach, how do you get people to believe before the results show up? How do you get people to believe that they're capable before a comeback or a winning streak, before there's proof.
Players are a lot easier to convince than athletic directors and fans.
That's a fair point.
Yeah. No, I think belief, well, it's proven daily, maybe by your interactions. And you're trying to build belief. And sometimes that's really hard. Sometimes you believe in a person or an idea more than that person believes in themselves. And so when I was the offense coordinator at Ohio State, we famously won a national championship with our third string quarterback. This was a young man. He doesn't have a bad bone in his body. His name is Cardell Jones. And Cardell didn't know his dad. Cardell's mom walked out when he was in 8th grade. He spent high school sleeping on couches, sleeping in guest bedrooms, all that stuff. So we get him to Ohio State. He's just a big baby, right? He's just he doesn't drink, he doesn't smoke, he doesn't chase girls. He just doesn't understand what the gravity of being a quarterback at Ohio State University, the level of responsibility that comes with. And so he would do knucklehead thing after knucklehead thing. Again, nothing ever late for class or late for a workout or whatever. And Urban Meyer, threatened to kick him off the team a couple different times. And I remember one night sitting in bed and I said, babe, I think tomorrow's the day that Coach Meyer is going to kick Cardell off the team. He's had enough. And she said, give me the phone. And she called my boss. And she said to Urban Meyer, she said, you put Cardell Jones on the Hermans. We'll get him right. We'll get him right. And she and I had a long conversation with Cardell that night. Lo and behold, he started acting better and better and better. And when the starter went down in training camp, who was the 2-time Big Ten Player of the Year in Braxton Miller, Cardell's not good enough to win the job then. We play a redshirt freshman from Wichita Falls named JT Barrett. He breaks his ankle in the last game against Michigan. In comes Cardell Jones. And Cardell Jones, we're ranked 5th in the playoffs. We got to win the Big Ten championship and win it. And we go in there and beat Wisconsin 59-0 with Cardell Jones at quarterback. I'll never forget, he got drafted. Yeah, it was awesome. And then we went on to beat Alabama and Oregon in the playoffs, and the rest is history.
Yeah.
But when he got drafted, he sent me a framed jersey, and I have it memorized. He says, to Coach Herman, the only person who believed in me when no one else did. I can't believe how much or how close we became when I hated you so much as a freshman. To much success, Coach. I love you, Cardell Jones. I know you're not all dealing with 19-year-old kids and all that, but when you invest in someone and you believe in someone, and that was not, I skipped the whole, from that phone call to, going and beating Wisconsin, right? I mean, that there wasn't just a light bulb that went off in Cardell's head and he became this super leader, right? I mean, there was a lot of involvement, but I think when Cardell found out that my wife had basically put our entire family's name on him, that meant something to him, and to have a family believe in him the way that we did, we got the best out of him. I don't know that there's a great answer other than investment. I think when you invest in people, they invest in your idea. I'd never bought a product one time. I bought a salesperson a lot. Right? You don't buy the product, you buy the people. And they don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. You have to invest in them and you have to believe in them. And eventually they start believing. At some point you got to have results, right? It's hard to hang on that rope. But celebrate those small victories too. I think that's important for them to see in themselves what you see in them.
I want to talk about belonging and buy-in. And I'm going to actually pose this to Mo first. How does the idea of brotherhood and sisterhood, this idea of trust, of belonging inside of a team, inside of an organization, how does this idea influence the way you start thinking about workplace culture and psychological safety, creating an environment of belonging for others?
When we are able to create an environment where people genuinely know that they are loved and cared for, then people have the courage to overcome the fear and discomfort to say the thing that they want to say, right? Or to be honest and share ideas without fear of being humiliated or feeling humiliated if the idea is bad.
Right.
Right? And are giving feedback and receiving feedback without fear of retaliation, because you genuinely know that, if I give feedback, I'm not going to get reprimanded or retaliated in another way, in the job and so forth. So when you create that environment of belonging, especially for organizations that are looking for innovation all the time, we're innovating, we're creating, we're solving problems.
You have to have it.
You have to have that belonging. Otherwise, people who may have the best idea may not ever speak up.
Right.
Because they're afraid of being ridiculed or humiliated. And so when you create an environment of belonging, it's not that you won't get feedback or like share an idea and people will be like, that's stupid. It's just the difference is that they won't feel like, oh, I got ridiculed. They'd rather be like, oh, you know what, Frank, you're right, that is a stupid idea.
Yeah.
We should think of something better. And so there's this environment where we can be honest with each other. We don't have to walk on eggshells. We don't have to sugarcoat stuff. We can actually say things how it needs to be and get work done. That's the psychological safety that it creates. It's not an environment of like, I don't want to offend you. I want to keep you included. I don't want to disrespect you. Here we understand genuine respect and care means that we care enough to say, hey, that was shitty. That was not good what you did, or that's a bad idea. Let's figure out how to get it better, and people take accountability and ownership and get right to work.
Right.
So that's the kind of environment, of true psychological safety that I think we can create.
And what I've experienced very quickly is that when you create that environment, at least how I feel, is that we can get to the outcomes faster. We can get to the work faster.
Yes.
We can move past disagreements and actually allow the disagreements to come up, to have conversations through conflict.
Yes.
And get on the other side faster, right? So that's my experience of what it looks like when I'm able to bring my full self. And you could say, Frank, it was a terrible idea. I was like, you're right, it was a really stupid idea. Yeah. But I was able to say it. Yeah. And sometimes those ideas that are shared actually branch off into better ideas that come out of it because we used it as a, jumping point, right? And so that happens a lot, and that's great.
Yeah.
Coach, I wanted to ask you, how do you know when a team actually belongs to each other? The players, the coaches, the team, how do you know? What does it feel like?
This one wasn't part of the prep. I keep going back to the Oklahoma game. This was after the really good season we had. We were playing Oklahoma. They were number 3 in the country. The very first game, Baker Mayfield, Samaje Perine, Hollywood Brown. I mean, it's a who's who. They go down, bang, 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 7-0 Sooners. Then we get the ball. I think we go 3 and out, punt it to them. Somehow we got lucky and held them to a field goal. It's 10-0. We go 3 and out, punt it back to them. And I'm thinking internally, this could go south in a hurry. And I'll never forget, they threw a swing pass to Samaje Perine out in the flat. And Garrett Davis, one of our safeties, came downhill and ran through him. And flattened him. And Samaje Perine tapped out. He didn't return to the game. He played the next week. I don't know how hurt he was or whatever, but in that moment, the energy on our sideline completely changed. And it was, that's who we are. He's showing it. He's putting it out there. What the hell are we all doing? The one person being a spark. And I don't know, yes, how do you know? You feel it. I literally, you say take a bullet for somebody, like I actually think there's a couple guys in the locker room that have taken a bullet for somebody else in that locker room. Wow, like you just felt it every day. I mean, some of the things you put them through and they just keep coming back for more. They're not doing it for themselves, you know, at that point.
Yeah,
so
you can see it.
You feel it, and I do think, like you guys have said, non-feely good, you know, conversation when you do belong. Yeah, in my opinion, you get way less of the nobody wants to step on anybody's toes to where I don't care about this moment right here because I know that I put so much in my bank account with that person that even if this is taken wrong, that I can say what I need to say because that person knows. They just know what my intentions are. But how does that person know? That's daily, that's minute, that's investment, that's time, that's, you know, I always say there's like 4 groups of people in any organization: church, business. There's a bottom 10%. I call them the defiant and disinterested. It doesn't matter a whole lot what you do with them.
Defiant and disinterested.
Yeah, defiant and disinterested. It doesn't matter. They cannot be sold, right? Unsellable.
Okay.
And you invest a little bit, but at some point you determine that and you try to get them in the transfer portal. And then you got the 3 C's, which most people fall in the compliant category. Okay. That's like your, you know, middle 70%. Right. They're just compliant. You know, then you go up another level and you get committed. Like some people that, you know, they stay late. They add their own touches to the stuff that you give them. And those are great. But I think there's an even bigger one, and that's compelled. And that's probably your 5%ers in your organization. Those are the ones that bring others with them because they're compelled by the message. They believed, right? They bought in. And so the more, we tried not to worry. Once guys were defiant and disinterested and got labeled that, they took very little of our time. And we made sure that the rest of the team understood that they shouldn't spend a whole lot of time with them either because they weren't going to be here real long. But it was a big task for us to get as many of the compliant guys committed and then the committed guys to compelled, you know, because we felt like it was like multi-level marketing, right?
Yeah.
Like if you bring one up here, you know, you're bringing one from that might have been down here, you know, 6 months ago. Yes, exactly. Yeah,
I love it.
Avon.
Yes. Let's just keep naming pyramid schemes real quick for the next 10 minutes. I want to talk about something that is not feely good. As quoting you directly, non-feely good. I want to talk about what does leading with love cost you? This is a question for both of you. What does leading with love cost you as a leader?
Instant likability. I think I always go back to parenting. My daughter, she's our oldest. She just graduated from UT yesterday or 2 days ago.
It's very fresh.
Yeah, very fresh.
Amazing.
And so she was like daddy's little girl growing up, right? She was attached to my hip. And then puberty happened and it was, Dad, why are you breathing so loud? And Dad dropped me off at the corner. Right? She hated me. And then we got into it, right? And it was not a comfortable few years in our household, but now we text every day and she sees that everything I did came from a place that maybe she couldn't see where it came from prior to that. So what does it cost you? It costs you that instant, you're not immediately liked, you know? Can't love everything that you do. So it's gonna cost your time and investment. I can't invest in my family. I don't have a hobby. I play golf like 9 times a year. I can't draw anything better than a stick figure. You know, I hang out with my family and I coach my team. Right. You know, and so there's no emotional energy left in me to devote anywhere else. Would I like to have a hobby? Yeah, probably. But then it's going to cost. You know, then one of those 2 things is going to suffer, and I'm not going to let that happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you have to protect it.
Yeah.
Mohammad.
Yeah.
What does leading with love cost you?
A lot, not monetarily, but from maybe the time. If it was a currency, I think you need to prioritize the time for your team or yourself needs. Whether that's nights, weekends, putting effort, sacrificing your own desires.
If you ask my children and hopefully my former players, we spell love in the Herman family Time. That's how we spell the word love. Time.
Got it.
Yeah. And with our teams as well. That's what you lose. Yeah.
Time, I would say, is the biggest currency that is lost. But at the same time, the way I look at it is it's an investment that's going to pay back dividends. Maybe not today, but tomorrow.
Right.
And also, especially, I'm very passionate about the mission that we're doing, which is to bring humanity back to the workplace through love. And so every hour, every ounce we can put in part investing into the mission, which is by way of leading with love, I think it's worth it, because I would love for my children to look at the work that I've done even beyond my lifetime and my grandkids and the future generations to say, okay, he did something meaningful to change the world. And I know it's not that I'm not spending time with my kids. I am definitely making whatever possible to spend with my family. But maybe for me, I want to leave a legacy behind for my children and my grandkids to cherish. As I had something to do with maybe changing the world. And so if I can invest that time, I think the dividends will come. So that's kind of how I see. So I don't know if it's a sacrifice or more of an investment, but it does come at a cost.
It does.
Yes.
Mohammad, when you look at everything that came after hearing that one word that Tom shared, the internal transformation that you experienced, the books, the work around bringing humanity to the workplace, what do you now understand that you didn't back then?
I genuinely misunderstood what leadership meant back then.
Yeah.
And I think I had management confused for leadership, and I didn't truly understand that, leadership is different. And I needed to really understand that leadership is about leading people and investing into people and caring for people to achieve an outcome or a purpose.
Yeah.
But at that time, I just thought my job was to manage people. They're just an expense. They're just here to get, workers. They have to do the work. You just get the most out of them. And what I didn't really understand was that until Tom Herman spoke about love, I had heard the concept of love from, spirituality, religion, and society, and relationships, but I never really appreciated that concept when it comes to organizational outcomes and teams until I heard Coach Herman speak about it. And I think that changed my whole perspective of what it meant to become a leader and practice, selflessness and investing into people and investing in relationships, which I'm still a work in progress, but that was something I did not understand or appreciate at that time.
Yeah. Tom, what is it like to sit here and hear that something that you said at one kind of random press conference in November of 2015 traveled this far into someone else's life and work? I mean, quite literally, the only reason why all of us are in this room is because you
Say that way.
So what's it like to be in this moment?
It's cool. I mean, it's
Done.
no, yeah. Wrap it up. No, I'm humbled that I had that kind of effect. It made me want to become a part of it. Yeah, I believe in. I mean, I sat through one of those Culture Rise deals. I couldn't believe that these guys, they were hired to do like whatever it is, software.
Yeah.
Sell software solutions or whatever it was, and And now it's this. It's amazing. I'm glad more people see the value kind of that way of operating. I don't know. Again, I didn't set out to make it a way. It's just the only way I knew, and it worked pretty good. So then people wanted to know what the way was. You know what I mean? But I admire you for. I don't know, you've got such an amazing curriculum attached to this. That's the only word I can think of. It's so well organized. I don't know that I've ever had, I mean, you've even asked me questions that I've never even thought of the answer to. And so it's humbling, but there's a lot of pride.
Yeah.
A lot of pride too.
Yeah. Tom, for leaders in the room, coach, I'm gonna call you coach. Coach, for leaders in this room, people leading companies, teams, families, communities, etc., what is one thing you wish they understood about building teams that can withstand pressure? What's one thing you wish they understood about building teams that can withstand pressure?
They gotta be selfless. They gotta be doing it for reasons bigger than themselves. They gotta smile more when their coworker gets an award than when they receive an award.
Come on.
Yeah,
That'll preach. I love it.
I've seen it happen. It doesn't just happen though by saying, hey, this is how we're gonna be, guys. You know, I think one of the costs that came up in my head too is if you're a private person, this is probably maybe not the best leadership style for you. You're going to lose your privacy because you're going to have to be so vulnerable to the people around you. You know, kids coming in with mental health problems. Let me tell you about my journey and my therapy sessions and this, that, and the other. Kid comes in with problems at home. Let me tell you about my dad and how I grew up. You know, that's the connection that is required with love. And if you're not willing to give that up of yourself, I'm not saying you're a bad person, that's your own right, but there's a lot of your privacy or intimacy that goes away because your team's gonna know everything. Hopefully they know everything about you. To survive pressure, you have to train that way. You've gotta, there's time for deep breaths, there's time to celebrate small victories, but if you want to be good in pressure situations, you got pressure. That's why everybody used to say, well, you guys are really good at tackling, but you tackle so much in practice. I'm like, I don't know how to get good at anything unless you do it over and over and over again. So, I mean, there's certain drills you can do and this, that, and the other, but I kind of figure, hey, we're going to get good at tackling people by tackling people. Yeah, a lot, over and over and over again. You have to just put them in those situations a lot, and then celebrate them when they make it through, or help them make it through in a controlled environment. Yeah. To where when it is go time with that big client, or it's go time with that presentation in front of the CEO, or whatever go time is for you guys, that there's been little go times all along the way that
prepares you,
that are prepared for that pressure. Yeah.
Mohammad, after living for this last decade, what would you challenge every leader in this room to do differently tomorrow?
I'd say the challenge I'd have for the leaders is to look for the good in others while looking for your own weakness.
Okay.
I think that can help you love others, because I learned that in order for me to love others, I had to stop focusing on the weaknesses of others. I had to focus on the goodness in them, and in turn look into my own weaknesses so I could become a better person for my team. And so that's the challenge I would give everybody else, is to look for the good in others and the weakness in yourself.
Thank you. Let's give it up for Coach Herman and Mohammad. And it's definitely remarkable that you're both here talking about this, and just, it's awesome, man. It's awesome.
And the fact that Mohammad 2.0,
yeah,
3.14, well, yeah, started 10 years ago, and we didn't meet until 9 months ago.
November 14th, 2015 is when I saw the comeback victory. And then my first ever conversation with Coach was November 14th, 2025.
10 years to the day.
10 years to the date.
wild.
Yeah.
Thank you both so much for this time, for the opportunity to dive deeper into seeing you both as real humans, right? Like getting a chance to actually dive into what makes you tick, to how you operate, how you think, what you do with that approach. I'm very thankful, and it's very eye-opening to us, and it is an incredible opportunity just again to nerd out with the fact that you're here with us in this space. Thank you guys.